In any hot real estate market, buyers know they need to get pre-approved before even looking at homes. So how do we streamline that process? That's coming up next on Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast.
You're listening to the Bo Knows Real Estate Podcast. Tips and advice for home buyers, sellers, and owners with award-winning RE/MAX agent, Bo Kaufman.
Hello, everybody. Bo Kaufman here, RE/MAX Performance Realty. And today we're talking about pre-approval. Now, that's been around for a while. Buyers these days know that they need to get pre-approved. By the way, pre-approval is different than pre-qualification. When a buyer goes up to a bank teller and says, hey, I make $60,000 a year. How much of a mortgage can I afford? Can you plug those numbers in? And the teller gives them an answer. That's pre-qualification. That's not what we're looking for. We need something a lot deeper than that. We need something where they do a bit of a dive into your financial abilities, your financial history, your credit rating, and that's called a pre-approval. Now, depending on who you're dealing with, a pre-approval could take just a few hours or it could take days. A lot of times it depends on the financial institution you're dealing with, but it can also be helped. Like the process can be sped up by you, the buyer, being ready for the questions they're going to answer. Because no matter where you go, they're going to need a number of documents from you. And today we're going to talk to my good buddy, Mike Schroeder of Mortgage Architects, and he's going to give us a list of documents that you, the buyer, have to have ready. So you may as well spend the time to dig them out, have them ready, and really impress the hell out of them when they ask for those documents and you say, hey, I've got everything ready in a file here for you. I'll email it to you. A lot of times that pre-approval process can be cut down to mere hours. So here we are. Help me in welcoming Mike Schroeder to the show. All right, Mike, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Bo. How are you doing today?
Excellent. How are you? Are you busy?
Oh, man, the season's been great. Well, everyone's buying and selling homes these days, so it's been crazy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're talking about what a buyer can do to kind of shorten that whole pre-approval process and make it as quick as possible. Some of the documents that they need that you and other lenders are likely going to ask them for. So let's start with that. What do buyers need to provide to get pre-approved?
Sure. So we can break the documents down into three different categories. We have to show how much money you make, so your income. We have to cover your down payment, and we have to go over your credit. So let's start at the beginning with income. First question, of course, would be, are you employed or are you self-employed? If you're employed with the company, then really we need the last pay stub you received and your last 2 years of T4s if you've been the employer that long. That will give us a good establishment on your income. Don't forget if you're receiving the Canadian Child Benefit, that many lenders will also accept that as a valid form of income. Now, if you're self-employed, we need to get your last 2 years of income tax returns. One of the easiest way of getting those tax returns is to contact your accountant because they have them all filed away for you. So you really should have either of those items ready to go when you're ready to get a mortgage.
Okay, quick question for you. I've heard people say that they need a letter from their employer. When does that come into effect?
Sure. So yes, we will need a letter from their employer, but I understand that sometimes employers are delayed in getting to that. If we have your T4s and your pay stub, that is enough to get the process started on your pre-approval. We can always ask for more documents later on, but at least we've got this process started for you.
Still wouldn't be a bad idea for a buyer to just reach out to his employer and say, hey, could you give me a quick letter? What needs to be in there? You've been working here for X number of years?
Yes, we'd have your start date in there, how you're paid, whether you're on commission, whether you receive bonuses, whether or not you're on probation, and someone that the lender can contact if they want to, just to verify that the information is accurate.
Contact info. Okay, excellent. So that covers the income portion.
Correct. And so next would be down payment. So this one's a little bit trickier because the documents we need will really depend on where your down payment is coming from. So it is more so, here's some questions for you to ask. Is the money coming from money you've saved yourself? So that could be from an employer-matched RRSP or employer-matched tax-free savings account. Maybe money you've been saving in the bank for the last 9 months. The other question would be, is if they're coming as a gift. So maybe you have a parent or sibling or grandparent who's gifting you money for a down payment. Well, that will change the documentation a bit as well. The other two factors would be if any of the money is coming in from overseas. And lastly, if any of the money is being borrowed. So for down payment, more so just know where the money is coming from first, and then we can give you some more details on what paperwork we need from there.
So people can actually borrow money for that 5% down payment.
Correct. That most people don't realize that, but you can actually borrow it, usually on like a line of credit or a short-term loan, and then that money can be used legally for a down payment on a house.
But of course, the payments that you make on that new loan will also affect how much you can afford on a house. Like it goes against your credit score.
Correct. And that's one reason why a lot of people often don't do it. But it is an option for you. And where it really comes in handy is if you're short, say, some of the down payment. So maybe you need $20,000 for down payment and you have $15,000, $16,000 saved up. You can make up the difference through that. And that can really help you in buying the house that you really want.
Okay, cool.
We'll be right back after this short announcement.
This episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast is brought to you by Total Moving, providing moving services, packing supplies, assembly, and organizing for residential and commercial clients. Guaranteeing no hidden fees while providing the most efficient moving process possible. Call 431-441-MOVE or get an estimate online at totalmovingwinnipeg.ca. That's Total Moving, Manitoba's modern mover.
And we're back, and Mike is going to tell us about the last set of documents we need.
And then the last one will be the credit report. So all we need to do to pull a credit report is the information we provide anyway, so address, date of birth, SIN number. But here's the key. We find that about a quarter of all credit reports have errors in them. We want to pull your credit as early as we can. I'm not making this up. Last month, we had a client who they had combined his credit report with a gentleman with a similar name from Vancouver. They now said that he was responsible for a $900 a month car payment, which I'm sure you can imagine would affect how much he was being pre-approved for.
Right.
So fortunately, we have a contact at the credit agency where we can go and repair it, and we can actually help correct those items for you with no cost. And so just something to keep in mind as an additional service that we offer is making sure that your credit report is accurate.
Now, in that case, how long did it take to repair that?
It took a couple of weeks.
Okay. I've heard stories that sometimes it can take months. Is that true? Like for different kinds of issues?
It can sometimes take longer. What is nice, though, is that as mortgage brokers, we actually have access to a back-end contact method through Equifax. And so we can usually escalate the matter and get it corrected more quickly than clients could if they just called in on their own.
Okay. So being pre-approved, one of the benefits is that you lock in that mortgage rate, which, of course, now there's a good threat of it going up, right? So how long can you lock it in for?
Between 90 and 120 days, depending on the lender. So call it between 3 and 4 months.
Okay, awesome. It's only gone up a quarter point, but the chance of it going up another quarter point in the next 3 to 4 months is pretty real, right?
Well, don't forget, even though the variable rate just went up by a little bit, our fixed rates have been going up by a lot. So just to give you an example, I had a client that I got approved for a mortgage purchase 2 weeks ago, and they got approved at 2.99%. They're taking possession of their house tomorrow. If they had got their approval tomorrow, their rate would have been 3.3%. It's gone up by 0.3 on the fixed side in 2 weeks. And so You want to get that information as early as you can, get that rate locked in so we can give you as many options as we can.
Okay, and how do people get a hold of you, Mike?
Sure. So one of the best ways is through my website, MikeSchroeder.ca. You can also book an appointment with me via email. My email address is mortgage@MikeSchroeder.ca. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm in business with my business partner, who's my wife, and we're known as Your Mortgage Couple on social media. Your Mortgage Couple. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, Mike, thank you very much. Some valuable information once again. And let's do this again in 2 weeks. Perfect. What are we going to talk about then? Have you thought about what we're going to do next? So the topic I was thinking we could bring up potentially would be other types of mortgages that people don't think about, such as home equity lines of credit, interest-only payments, cashback mortgages. Most people don't realize just how many options are out there. And so kind of give you some of the different mortgage products you can think about. It goes beyond the fixed versus variable conversation. Sure. Yeah, that sounds interesting. I think I can learn a lot there too. So again, it's been educational. Thank you very much for your time, Mike. No problem. One last thing. There's no such thing as a stupid question. For anyone out there listening to this, always feel free that you can reach out to us with any mortgage questions. It's all been asked before, and we're here to help guide you through it. So please, no such thing as a dumb question. Always ask. Okay, thanks, Mike. We'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Are you looking to buy a house or a condo in Winnipeg? Work with the agent who takes the time to explain the process to you, guiding you through every step. For service beyond the sale, book your home buying consultation with Bo Kaufman of RE/MAX Performance today. Bo knows real estate.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Winnipeg's Real Estate Podcast and found it helpful. If you did, why not subscribe and get your own app? It's really easy. Just go to boKnows.homes/apps. That's APPS. And there you'll find convenient links to get both the iOS and Android apps. Till next time, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Bo Kaufman of RE/MAX Performance Realty. Are you thinking of buying or selling a house or a condo in Winnipeg? Call Bo at 204-333-2202. Remember, Bo knows real estate.